Hi everyone. Today we are going to see about how to read an EDI file. Okay. So if we go to this EDI segment, you'll be able to see I'm taking a sample. So in that I'm taking 837p 5010 file and I'm opening it. Okay. If I open this file, I'm able to see so many lines. Okay, so it starts with ISA, GS and ST. So we are going to learn what is that each letter, right? What is the meaning and how to read this file. Okay, so before we learn that, we need to understand an 837 file, like how it will be separated. Okay, what are the different separate segments we have? So first is we need to know there are different type of specific data. First we'll have the header. This is the first part, and in the last we'll be having ending trailer. Okay, this is where the file will end. So header and ending trailer, and then after the header you'll be having details about the billing provider. Provider means doctor, right? Whoever has performed that procedure on the patient, right? That provider, that doctor's details will be there. And then subscriber details. Subscriber is like so under whose name the insurance is. Okay, so if in a family you have one person, if you say that the father has he's the main subscriber and he's getting the insurance through his employer, so he is the subscriber. Whereas the mom and the kids, right, they all will be like dependents. Okay, so you need to understand the patient can be the kids or the mom, whereas the subscriber is the father's name. Okay, so you need our subscriber can also be the patient. He himself, like if he's going for some kind of emergency, then he's a subscriber and the patient. But usually insurance, right, is under one person in the family, and the other people will be coming as dependents. So that's the difference. Okay, subscriber is different from, it could be same as a patient or different. Okay, then we have details about the patient, and we have claim details. So why is this, what is the reason for this claim? Okay, that details will be there. So these are the different segments we have. So header, details of the billing provider or the doctor. Then you have subscriber details. Then you have details about the patient. Then the claim details, and then the ending trailer. Okay. Now, first is the header. Let's see in header. If we take header, right, I'm going to take a document here. So this is the header document. So if we take the header, right, first we will be having ST. ST means transaction set header. And then you will have BHT. BHT means beginning of hierarchical transaction. REF is reference information. So this is ST, BHT and reference. So once these three letters are given, you have to go to loops. After reference, right, the loop starts. The first loop is 1000A. Okay, that will be mostly who is submitting and what's additional name information, what is the location, geographical location, and submitter's EDI contact name and all that. So this is for submitter, and who is receiving. So after a reference information, the loop will start. So the first loop is 1000A, then the second loop is 1000B. So if you see here, next is loop. So inside this heading, right, in the header itself, you'll be having like loops. So 1000A, 1000B, 2000A, 2000B, 2000C, like this you'll be having loops. So loop is nothing but a section or a block of an EDI file, and each loop contains multiple segments. Also they include elements and sub-elements. So let's see what is a loop. So first I have told you, let's take an example. So after reference there will be loop, right? So the first loop is 1000A and the next loop is 1000B. Now let's take an example file. So if you see here, ISA, I'll tell you what is ISA and GS. So for now, let's start with header. Header starts with ST, BHT, and then the loop will start. So it's not that all the information, for example, I said like it needs to have reference, right? It's not that all the information needs to be there. It can also like one or two information. If it is not necessary, then that will not be there. If reference is not needed, if it's not used, then that will not be needed. So whatever is mandatory, M means it's mandatory, must use. Okay, those needs to be there. Sometimes some segments we can use it or we can ignore it. It depends. Okay, so whatever is mandatory, you need to know. So after ST and BHT, those are mandatory, and then we come to loop details. That is 1000A. It starts with NM1. So let's see the file now. If we see the file here, it goes to ST, BHT, and then NM1. So it means the loop starts here. The loop, like 1000A loop, starts here. Okay. So after that, if you see here, if you can see that N2, N3, not use, not use, not use. These are like you can use it or it's not mandatory. That's the meaning. Okay, if you want, you can use it, otherwise not needed. And then if you come to the last one, it's PR. That is must use. That is mandatory. That is submitter's EDA contact name. So after NM1, mandatory field is PER. Okay, let's see whether if that field is there. Okay, so NM1, after that PER is there. So these two are mandatory, that needs to be there. If the submitter wants to give additional information, that is also totally fine. Okay, so let's see, so SC, BHT, and then NM1 PER. That is there. Okay. Now let's go to the additional section. So the next loop, again, loop 1000B starts. Okay, so the loop 1000A is submitter name, and then loop 1000B is receiver name. So what are the mandatory fields? NM1 and PER. Okay. No. PER is not mandatory. Just this NM1 is mandatory. Others are not mandatory. So let's see here in the example. If you see here, it gives, so NM1 PER and then NM1. That's all. PER is not there because it's not mandatory. Okay. Next one, it will start with HL. Let's go to that section. So if you see here, if they ask you what is loops, okay, if they ask you what is loops, you need to understand, you need to say that there are different kinds of loops like 1000A, 1000B, and then 2000A, 2010A, 2010AB, then 2010 AC, then 2000B, 2000. I will tell you what is the difference, but now you need to say, this is the structure. Okay, so first the heading will start with ST, BHT, and then the loop will start. The loop will start with 1000A, 1000B, then heading information is over. After heading information is over, I told you, after heading, details about that provider, right, about the doctor. So next loop is 2000A. In the 2000A, it needs to start with HL. So billing providers hierarchy level. And then it needs to say provider specialty information. These two are mandatory. And then subscriber patient information. All this is there. So let's see in the file if those information are there. So HL, PRV, those information are there. If you see here, HL and PRV is there. So up to this, right, from here to this, that is heading, header information. But from HL, the provider, billing provider information starts. Okay, so this is heading section, and then from HL, right, the details about the billing provider section starts. Okay, so we saw here, right, so first is header section. Okay, inside that header section, you'll be having lot of loops. And inside this detail section, again, there will be so many loops. Inside the subscriber, so there are like different, first you have to say to the interviewer, like there are different type of sections. Header, detail, subscriber, details about the patient, claim details, and ending trailer. Inside every section, there will be loops. Okay, what are those loops? Let's see here. The loops are, it could, for heading section, the loops are 1000A and 1000B. For detail section, the loops are 2000A, 2010AA, 2010AB, 2010AC, 2000B, 2010BA. So it goes on like that. many details will be there. You need not memorize all this. What you need to understand is what are loops. Okay, what are the different sections and what are loops. This and all will be hard coded by your developer, right? He will hard code this. So you need not like memorize each things, but you need to know how to read an EDI. When the business owners give you requirements, right? You need to know, like in an EDI file, what will be there, what are loops, what are the different sections, and what is segment. So all that basic information you need to know. If they are saying a loop 2000A, you need to know what is loop 2000A. Okay, so in detail it will start with HL, that is loop 2000A. So if you see here, it starts with HL, PRV, then other information. Then loop 2010 AA will start. That will start with NM1. So let's check here. If you check here, you can see here HL, PRV. That's one loop. Then next one is NM1, N3, N4, and like this the sections will go on increasing. If you want this document, you can email me. I can send you the reference. So just before preparing the interview, you can see this. Okay, no need to memorize. So in the detail section, the loop is 2000A, like so many loops are there. So all that information you need to give it to the developer to hard code it. And then it comes, the next section is, if you see here, the next section is subscriber details. Okay, subscriber will start with SBR. Okay, so SBR is subscriber details. So let's say here, what is the loop for subscriber? So if you see here, the subscriber details will start with SBR and the loop is 2320. Okay, so like this, all the subscriber information will be there. And then, so finally, once you provide all the provider information, subscriber information, and then if you can put that claims information, okay, we put all the information here in the EDI file, it will be ending, like last is the ending. Okay, so if you see here, the file will end. So this document is it is given everything in detail. So you can use this document for preparing for any interview. Everything is given in detail. Okay, each section. So what is segment? What is the how you have to like code and all that. So as a BA, you need not learn everything, but you need to know what is segment, what is segment separator and all. So first, okay, now let's see. So once all the details are added in it, so each section is there. Inside each section, the loops are there. The loops can be 1000A, 1000B, 2000A. So you just remember 2000 means it's billing provider. For subscriber, it will start with 2000B. For claims information, it's 2300. And for service line, it's 2400. Okay, this is subscriber loop information. So next we will learn about what is segments and elements. So inside every line, okay, now let's read every line. Inside every line, okay, initially you'll be having called, after if you see here, you can see, okay, ST837 means it's an 837 file. Okay, so every line is called a segment. Every line is called a segment. Okay, let's see here. So you can see this is claim segment. HL means hierarchy, REF is reference, NM1 is name, DMG means it's demographic, N3 means it is address, N4 means city. So you can say that each segment means its own line, making it easier to read. The line ends with always with an asterisk, or you can say like tilde. Okay, so but for elements it will be asterisk. For segments it's always with tilde. So this tilde is called as a segment separator. So let me show you an example. So if you see here, every line, right, it will be ending with the tilde. Okay, so means this is a segment. Each line is a segment. Okay, this is a segment and this is a segment. And so if a segment is ending, you need to put this sign, tilde sign. Means that segment is completed. Now the next side, that BHT segment. Then if it's ending, you have to put tilde. And then NM1 segment, that if it's completed. So each segment, each line is a segment, and then that will be ending by the tilde sign. So if the interview they ask you what is a segment, what is a segment separator, you need to say each line is a segment, and that segment is will be separated by a segment separator. The sign is tilde sign. Okay, and then next one is elements. Elements means like it has all the claim information and it will be separated by asterisk. So for example, so in this line, if you see NM1, 85 is an element, 2 is an element, ABC group practice is an element, and then so each, when it is separated by asterisk, okay, when we see 85, before that there is an asterisk, after that there is an asterisk, right? 2 before that there is an asterisk, after that means each one is element. 85 is an element, 2 is an element, ABC group practice is an element. So under each segment, every word, not every word, everything has a meaning. Okay, for example, if you see address 123 Main Street, so that is totally, that means address is a segment. Kansas City, the city name is a segment, element. Okay, and then MO is a state, and then zip code. So that is an element, this is an element, this is an element. It is separated by element separator. Okay, now let's see. So element means in every segment, in every line, you will be having all these kind of like shortcuts. Okay, so 82 means rendering provider, 85 means billing provider, HC means CPT code, 40 means claim receiver. So like for 472 means date of service. You need not memorize it, but they will be asking you, do you know what is element? So you need to say in every line there will be data will be there. So those data are elements and it is separated by asterisk. So that is element separator. Those asterisks are called as element separator. That's how you need to answer. Okay. So if you see here, so let's go through the file one again. So first is ISA will be there and GS will be there. ISA is nothing but like what type of file. These are standards. ISA and GS will be mostly like standards, like what type of file. If you see here that it is 0050. So when I opened the file, I told you, right, it is 837p5010 file. So what's the standard? So that file name will be there. So these two this will be standard for all the files. So this will be mostly standard. Your personal information will start from here. Okay, whether the file will be, so this is the heading details. So it's an 837 file, and then NM1 PU. So then after the heading section is over, then you will come to the detailing section, right? So all the sections will start from ST. Okay, so you need to answer them like stating that what are the different kind of sections. Sections will be header, details, subscriber, details about the patient, claims and end trailer. Each section will have a loop. Okay, 1000A, 1000B, I mean like this they'll have a loop. So let's quickly go through how to read an 837 EDI file. So important is first what are the different sections, and then what are loops, and then what are segments, segment separator, and then what are elements and element separator. So first is different sections are header sections, provider section, subscriber section, patient section, claim and ending. So inside every section we'll be having loops. The loops will be 1000A, B, C, and then 2000A, 2000B, 2000C. All these loops will be there. Every loop will have a segment. Each line is a segment. Okay, so if you see here, so ST, right, this is a loop. It will start from here and then end here. Okay, again from HL we can see that there is another loop is starting and it will end here. So a loop, each line is called a segment. Inside every loop there are so many segments. So ST is one segment, BHT is a segment, NM1 is a segment, PR is a segment, and each segment it's separated by a tilde sign, that is segment separator. And in each segment you will have so many elements. So, okay, elements is nothing but a specific data. So elements will be there and elements will be separated by asterisk, and that is called as element separator. If you see here, these are the different segments. And then in elements, if you see, there are like so many elements. Each data is an element, and these elements are separated by asterisks. Okay, that's called the element separator. That's all you need to know to read an 837 file. So why we are learning this? Because when you gather requirements, and if they say, so everything will be at the back end, right? When the member creates a claim, and if they're going to create a claim, the file will be transformed in this format only. Okay, in an EDI format only, it will be transformed in the back end, because we don't want anybody to read the data. This is highly encrypted, so we don't want anybody to read the data, this because it's patient information, everything will be personal. So we don't want anybody to read the data, right? So in backend, right, from one system and to another system, the transaction will be using this 837 EDI file only. Okay, that's the purpose of making this file. This will be an auto generated, so your developer will be like he'll be coding to generate this file. So but you need to know, when you give requirements to the developer, you need to say that the system should process all the EDI files. Okay, so in 837, if you see, there are so many files, right? P for professional, D for dental, I for institution. So there are different types of 837 files. I already showed you here. Okay, so let's see. So if you see here, 837D for dental practices, 837P for professions, 837I for institution. Institution means hospitals. So for all these different types of 837 files, this application should be able to generate that file, right? And it should be able to process and send it to the insurance. So when you gather the requirements from the business owners, you need to ask them what are the different types of 837 file you want the system to process, and those requirements you need to give it to the developer. Okay, so I hope this session is helpful. Thank you for watching.